Hey there guys, welcome back to ARTFX Studios and you're watching the third sound design request. This one was requested by Sahil on my production chat on Skype. It's not really a sound design request, it's more compositioning, but since we're creating a drum loop with this, I think I'm gonna do this as a sound design request. First of all, if you want to see more of these videos, please like, follow, subscribe, everything on all these channels that are in the screen right now. You guys are really putting up a great job. I mean, we're really growing really fast right now, and that's what I want. This is the drum loop I created, and this one is the one I'm gonna use to demonstrate how to create swing. This drum loop is at 100 BPM. It sounds pretty much like a glitch up drum, but there's one problem. It doesn't have swing, and glitch up needs swing. So, there are a couple of ways you can create swing. Some are better than others, and I'm gonna explain to you why I think the third technique I'm gonna explain today is the best one. So the first technique is, right now, this drum loop, every beat, this is a beat, is divided in 4 measures, as you can see. That would mean, when you divide a beat in 4 measures, that you are gonna get 1/16 notes. So these hi-hats down below here are 1/16 note hi-hats. When creating a swinging type drum, this particular one needs to be shifted to the right, and this one needs to be shifted to the right. I now manually shifted these two hi-hats away from the grid line, and now we get this. So that already swings, right? But there's one big problem. If you want to do that for an entire track, it's going to be a pain in the ass. I mean, the thing why is because it's really difficult to shift every single thing away from the grid line with the exact same amount. So instead, you can also use the groove pool, which is down here. But I'm not going to use the groove pool because I don't really like the way the groove pool adds swing to your drums. For instance, when you use the groove pool, a lot of times what you get is it's gonna swing some notes away from the grid line, but you don't really have control over what note is going to be shifted away from the grid line. You are always bound to stick to what is in that particular groove. Some grooves also shift away the first notes, so the notes that fall exactly on the beat, and they actually shift those like a really small amount earlier or later, depending on the grid. And I don't want that, you know, I want that first note, that first drum sound to be exactly spot on the grid, because I don't want that to sound sloppy. I just want to add swing by shifting just the notes that have that swinging character. So I wouldn't use the groove pool or the groove templates, because if you're a producer like me, and I like to produce music, and I like to arrange my drums always in audio. Why? Well, when you're layering drums, when you do it in audio, you can see the waveform, and you can see where the transients are. I can actually manually align each individual transient when I'm layering, and you won't be able to do that with a drum rack or when you do your drums in MIDI. So I like to do my drums in audio, but there's one problem. You cannot apply the grooves to multiple individual audio clips. You can apply a groove to warp markers when you've warped a loop inside Ableton Live, or you can apply them to MIDI notes. But since I like to work with my drums in audio, you cannot apply the groove template to that audio. So that's a pain in the ass as well. So how are you gonna make these drums swing in a really, really precise and really well organized way? It's really simple. First, I'm gonna switch my grid to triplet grid. So right now, and normally you would get something like this. So now every beat, so this is a beat, and every beat is now divided in 3 instead of 4 measures. That creates a simple swinging type thing. However, in glitch hop, most of the time the hi-hats that fall in the offbeat are still exactly in the center between the kick and the snare. So if I have, let's say, let's just create a really fast part. Like this, if we would have this, let's play it. With a triple grid, we could shift those to the right to the grid line so that they align with that grid line. And now we have swing. But we don't really have the swing that you normally hear in glitch hop. Because in glitch hop, normally the hi-hats still fall on that offbeat. Like that. It's the notes between these kick, hi-hat, snare, hi-hat. The notes that fall in between there are the notes that create the swing. So let's delete this again and let's go back to our drum loop. If I zoom in a little bit, now we've got our triplet grid. But a triplet grid basically is 1/12 notes. And I want to have 1/24 notes. So I'm going to zoom in until each beat is now divided in 6 grid lines. As you can see now, each offbeat hi-hat still falls exactly on a grid line. And that's what I want. Now, I'm gonna mute the hi-hats for now, and I'm gonna start working on the main drums. So, we can now clearly see which sounds, which clips inside this drum loop are not properly aligned to the grid. This one falls exactly on that grid line, so that works. This one, however, doesn't fall on that grid line. See, it's this one, and we have a grid line right here. So I'm always gonna shift the ones that don't align with the grid, and I'm gonna shift those to the right. I'm also gonna make this one shorter so that it doesn't overlap with the snare. And now I'm gonna go on. This one still aligns with the grid. Same for that one. This one also doesn't align with the grid. Now, this is the mid of the beat. This is the off beat, and I want to have that kick there. So now it's just right before the hi-hat. This one again falls exactly on the beat. This one is going to be shifted to the right again, shorten it. Then, right here, this one is also not falling on the grid, so I'm going to shift that to the right, and I'm going to make this back to where it was. Then this one is going to be shifted to the right as well. Bring that back. Shift this to the right. Bring that back. This one is going to be shifted to the right. Shorten it. This one is good where it is. This one is good where it is. This one can be shifted to the right so that it aligns with that particular grid line. This one is okay. This one needs to be shifted to the right again. This is okay, and this one is lastly going to shift to the right. Now for the snare, every snare falls exactly on the beat for the main snares. However, on the end I have this little fill section. This one needs to be shifted to the right a little bit. This one is also going to be shifted to the right, and this one is fine where it is. So now, with just these this done, it sounds much more like a glitchy kind of thing or a swinging kind of thing. Now, before I'm going to play this, I'm also going to do the same for the hi-hats. I'm not going to do the entire thing. I'm just going to delete this and align this one to here. and this one to here. Am I doing this right? Yeah. Now I can duplicate this over and fill out the entire loop. So now we can see we've got something totally different from what we had before, especially when you look at the bottom audio track. And we now have created a swinging drum loop using a 1/24th note grid, but we're using the exact same amount of notes as we would use with 1/16th notes. Now, if I play this, you're gonna notice this sounds much more swingy. So that's basically how it works. And the cool thing about this is you can apply this to everything. You can apply this to automation, to audio clips, to MIDI notes. You can apply it to everything inside Ableton Live because everywhere you have this grid. And the other cool thing about this is when you use the 1/24th note grid, we can create a triplet kind of fill at the end. So let's say we're gonna duplicate this again so we have a second phrase, and on the last part of this phrase I want to create some kind of a triplet kind of thing. Now we already have that triplet kind of thing right here, so I'm gonna align my drums to the triplet grid now. First gonna do the hi-hats, and it's gonna end with just that snare. And I'm gonna align these two there. And let's see how this sounds. We can start somewhere here. So you see how that works. I can use the triplet grid to create a nice little fill. And because we're using 1/12 notes on this end part, so and it just works. I would add a whole bunch of stuff to a fill like this, but you can blend 1/12 notes, so normal triplet notes, with 1/24 notes, and it will always work in terms of timing and rhythm. So that's it. That's how you create a cool swinging drum loop. If you have a request for a sound design video, then please post it in a comment below or send it to the right topic on my forum. You can find it at www.artfx-studios.com, and there you can find a whole bunch of other stuff. You can find downloads, you can find a web store, you can find a forum, and you can just have a great time there. So I hope to see you back soon. Peace.